A couple days ago, 2K flew me out to Scottsdale, Arizona to get early hands-on preview for PGA Tour 2K25. All in all, I got to play the game for about 2.5 hours, and I also had direct contact with a few devs that were there at the event as well. Because of that limited time with the game, I mean, there's a lot to go through, and I didn't have long. I didn't get through everything that the game had to offer, but I did want to touch on some of the key aspects of the game that I got to see while I was there. And I got full access to the game. So the entire game was unlocked. Nothing was left off limits to me. I got to go through all of the menus, all of the modes, everything. So I will be talking about everything today. And also there's probably some things that, you've already seen or heard. So if that's the case, I do have timestamps for this entire video. If there's something that you want to see in particular, you'll be able to jump right to it. I'm also releasing a Q&A on my second channel, Respawn 2. My second channel will house most of my PGA Tour 2K25 content this year. On the main channel, you'll get this video as well as my final review of the game after about 100 hours. So that will be here. But for everything else, the ranked tips and tricks, course spotlights, ranked tours, all of the other content that you were used to in 2K23, you'll be able to find on my second channel, Respawn 2. So, after you watch this video, and leave a like on it, and sub if you haven't, head over to Respawn 2 to catch the Q&A, and make sure to sub over there as well. Also, quick shout out to 2K for even inviting me out to the event, and shout out to all the HB developers who were there as well. They answered all of the questions that we had. They listened to our feedback. They gave us time that they didn't have to, and that was greatly appreciated. But with all of that out of the way, let's dive in. The first thing I want to go over is the new EVO Swing in PGA Tour 2K25. Some of you have probably already had a chance to try it out since 2K Ninja launched a demo for PGA Tour 2K25 a couple of days ago. If you didn't know that, you do now. Go download it and play it. It gives you the back nine of TPC Scottsdale. You can create a MyPlayer. Everything you do in the demo will transfer over to the main game when it actually launches. So if you want to see what the gameplay has in store for you in this iteration, go over, download the demo, and give it a try. And I just want to add to here that what a great thing for 2K to do. In today's age of gaming, there isn't demos really that come out. Every once in a while you do, and sometimes there's closed betas just to test things. But for the most part, an open demo to everybody where progress transfers over, those just don't happen that often. Allowing people to get in to actually play the game that they could potentially purchase, I think is a huge win for 2K and HB. For the EVO Swing itself, though, this is a new feature that I am enjoying immensely. I enjoyed it with my time at the preview, and I have enjoyed it with my time in the demo. When I first saw the EVO Swing, there was, a little worry in me because I've seen how this is kind of played out, diagonal swinging and all that. I've seen how it's played out in past EA games. But I think that they have taken the formula and really made it something spectacular. And that upgrade comes in many forms. For one, removing the necessity for good tempo allows for this game to be much more accessible to people. And instead of it feeling as if sometimes, that tempo is random, they have introduced a system that is purely based on the inputs that you put in, with rhythm still being there, the tempo is still there. It's more a direct 3-to-1, and it doesn't affect the swing as much as it has in the past. Within the swing as well, they have the addition of something called Perfect Swing, which is a spectacular addition to this game. Perfect swing is exactly what it sounds like. You swing and it's always perfect. Now, for someone like me, it doesn't mean that much because I've played this game series for thousands of hours. But while I was at the event, in Scottsdale. They had the demo set up for people to come in and play. During the time of me standing around that booth, I watched kids under the age of 10 sitting down and playing the game and enjoying the game using that perfect swing. Two kids were sitting next to each other and like cheering each other on as like good shots were made. Got up and slapped hands one time. Seeing like that kind of interaction through a game that has become, I would say, more accessible over the years is just something extremely awesome to see. Getting people into the game and then allowing them to make the game as difficult as they want as they get better at the game is a huge win for accessibility and not only getting people into the game, but getting people into the real game of golf. As some of you have probably already experienced, though, the EVO Swing at first is extremely jarring, especially if you're coming back from PGA 2K23. My first playing of the EVO Swing, I always wanted to come back up to the center. So I would pull it back diagonally, and then I would just come back up straight into the middle, which would lead to a lot of very bad errant shots. But I mean, if you've played the PGA 2K series, I think that eventually you will get the hang of it. I'm not great yet at it, but I have gotten the hang of the swing through the demo, and I've gotten much better over my time playing it. In the end, if you were good at golf games, or if you are good at golf games, you're gonna be good at this golf game too. The hope with the EVO Swing is that it will even the playing field for everyone across all of the consoles, especially since cross-platform is so prevalent in the game. Within the EVO Swing, I also want to go over some of the changes that they have made, especially to the short game when it comes to PGA Tour 2K25. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get through all of the shot types to test them out and to see how they play. I would have had to gone through every single pro golfer that they had to find the specific shot types to then go into the course and test them out, and I just didn't have time for that. I believe somebody at the event did, though. I think it was Makachata, so if you want to go follow their progress with their YouTube videos, which I think he said he's coming out with them next week at some point, you can do that, because I believe that he did test a lot of the shot types out. But for me, I did not have the time to do it. I had a lot of other things to go through. But I've had some time to, play an extended look, I guess, for the short game because of the demo. And I do want to go over some changes just in case you haven't played it yet. First off, chipping in the game, I think, is absolutely phenomenal. Overall, I think a lot of the shot types actually act as if they would in real life. Chips have a short flight and a long roll. No more like high loft, high spin, stopping a chip on a dime. Balls roll out more from the rough, so it's something that you have to be aware of when you're chipping short side green. And just the increase in difficulty with that, I think, will lend to an overall increased difficulty in the short game, which was sorely needed in PGA 2K. Flops have also changed in the game quite drastically from past iterations of PGA 2K. In the past, flops were used as a get-out-of-jail-free card. No matter where you were on the course, you could always just flop it and probably get it close. Now, it was possible to flub a flop shot, but more often than not, you were just hitting darts with the flop shot. In 2K25, the flop shot has been made quite challenging. Due to its small window to perfect, any small miss is a big miss when using the flop shot. And that is something that I think is, again, very good for the health of the game, especially in the short game. And the flop shot is now difficult to perform, which makes sense since it is quite difficult to perform in real life as well. I also think putting has been made a little bit more difficult in PGA Tour 2K25. Now you have two options of missing, swing path, and also whether it's club face closed or open. And the power through the rhythm also lends to you absolutely smashing some balls. Now, as time passes, this could just be something that we need to get used to. But overall, with I think these three things, chipping, flopping, and putting, the overall short game has increased in difficulty for PGA Tour 2K25, which was just needed, plain and simple. Now, once we get hands-on with all of the shot types, some metas may emerge as what you will need in order to, stick balls close in the short game. But for now, what we've seen, what I was able to see, short game is increased, and this will lend to an overall better health of the game. And I don't want to spend too much time on the EVO Swing, just wanted to hit on a few points, because, like I said, right now, you can go and download the demo. It's free. You just go download the demo, and you can test out the swing mechanic yourself, and see if it is something that you would enjoy. Moving on, I want to talk about the MyPlayer creation, the archetypes, the fittings, the consumables, just the overall MyPlayer in this year's game. These are all things that you can also do in the demo, so if you want a full look yourself, you can see it within the demo. But there are some, I would say, concerns that I have that I would like to go over here, as well just give you a full overview of the MyPlayer, just in case you haven't played the demo yet. Firstly, the MyPlayer Creation Suite is back from 2K23, now in PGA Tour 2K25. Within the MyPlayer Creation Suite, there are some additional face types and hairstyles, but for the most part, it is pretty similar to what we had in 2K23, which is not a bad thing at all. One big change that they had is they added a weight slider, so now I can make Thick Boy, and he's beautiful. Character models also look much better than what they did in past iterations, especially in the suite. However, the more I've played the demo and the more I played the preview, and I was looking through the footage for the preview, for whatever reason, and I don't know why, but the MyPlayer just doesn't look as crisp as it does in the suite while you're actually out on the course. Now, for the demo, that could just be Scottsdale because, very bright kind of blows it out. So it could just be that, but even during the preview event, there was something that just looked off. I don't know what it is. I couldn't place my finger on it. And when I went through the replays, they looked great, but during moment-to-moment action, for whatever reason, the MyPlayer just looked kind of off. A good chunk of my time with the preview, I was looking through archetypes and skills and fittings and consumables and how all of those will change the game as a whole. And while all these changes are great, my speculating brain has also led me to my biggest concern within this model. Now, this concern could potentially be just PTSD from 2K23, because in 2K23, it didn't matter what archetype you chose, because as you got to the end of your fittings journey in 2K23, all of the archetypes just kind of became the same. There was no variance in them whatsoever. In PGA Tour 2K25, the old fittings of the past have been replaced with these new fitting gems. There's also club progression and EVO tools. The first time seeing this information, like the screen, all of this, is a little overwhelming, but getting into the system is actually pretty easy to understand, especially compared to where we were in PGA Tour 2K23. You get fittings either through playing the game, leveling up in the Clubhouse Pass, which I will go over at a later date, or buying them in the shop. Yes, you can buy them in the shop. You place these fittings onto the club set that you have chosen, and these provide boosts to that specific attribute. At first, you can only do one, but you can also level up the clubs just by playing with them, and you can add in more fittings as you level up the club. Once you reach the max level for that tier of club, you then use an EVO tool, which can also be bought in the shop, to evolve that club. Evolving that club deletes all of the current fittings that are inside the club at the time, but now instead of +1 to an attribute or +2 to an attribute, it goes to +4 or to +6. And now putting fittings into the slots will give you an additional boost to whatever attribute that you have chosen to fit into those slots. So now that you kind of understand how the system works, let me go over what is, I would say, my biggest concern for the game overall. This fitting system doesn't care what the caps are that you have decided with your attribute upgrades. And what I mean by that is when you're increasing your attributes in your MyPlayer, increasing one attribute lowers the cap of the corresponding attribute down. No matter what you have selected for attributes, you can always go over that cap using the fittings. And there is also no cap with how many of each fitting you can socket onto one club. What this means is I can, take someone like the Technician, get him to 69 power, level up a club all the way, evolve it all the way, and then stack 5 power gems into that club, giving me 30 additional power and getting the Technician to 99 power. I have now taken a character with the worst power in the game and gotten them to 99 power, just like that. Real quick, you cannot go over a 99. 99 is a hard cap, so you can't get your power to 110. So just want to get that out of the way just to avoid any confusion. Now, could the 5 power gem thing be a problem? I mean, it could be. It depends on how many skill points we have to use and how punishing this game is without allotting more points into other attributes. But if we can get away with having lower stats on things like putting or mid stats on swing path, contact, and correction, and then just take 99 power with the fittings, I mean, this game will almost probably be in the same spot that it was in 2K23. Power is king, and power is all that matters. Could the game become too easy for the golf nerds like me in the long run? I mean, yeah, it could be, and they could get away with tuning the higher difficulties a little bit to the harder side for people like me. However, my message on this front, the difficulty front, is we as a community cannot rush to judgment on the difficulty when we are playing with low-leveled characters on only one back nine at one of the easiest TPC courses, at least in game, that we could play, with all of the conditions listed as pretty calm. We also don't know if there's going to be any changes or patch to the game before it releases. So we just have to give it some time. We need to wait for the game to release. And if some balancing is needed once the game is released and in everybody's hands and we're playing all of the courses, I would say then, okay, let's do it then if needed. But let's get some more data first. But past that, one big concern I have with the fitting system, Archetypes are back in 2K25, and the mix that they have, I think, is a good one. Not only are the attributes spaced out in a way that makes sense for each, but each archetype matters in a different way this year, and that is because of skills. PGA Tour 2K25 took a page out of EA's book, but brought their own flair with shot types in the game. You unlock these shot types by buying them in the skill tree. Each of these skills are chosen depending on what you want, and each skill comes with a little graphic to show you what it does. So if you don't know the game of golf, I mean, these can help, which is spectacular. One piece of feedback that I did give HB about this is I would actually like to see a little video showing what the shot looks like so that people know before purchasing it. The graphic is nice and the description is nice, but a little video showing what the shot looks like I think could be really neat. With your choice, though, comes a differentiating thing about your build. Certain shot types are only available for the archetype that you have chosen, and they are all pretty great, honestly. Powerhouse gets Power Drive, which allows you to hit it even further off the tee. Sculptor gets Knockdown, which gives you a low-flying shot that has increased spin for less rollout. Magician has Recovery, which gives a shot with lots of forgiveness to allow you to get up and down easier. Technician has Pick, which is a bunker shot that lands soft and rolls out less, which I think could be pretty huge. And finally, Greenskeeper has Green Reader, which reduces the scale of the grid square to allow you better reading of the greens. Having these skills locked behind your choice of archetype really gives weight to the decision that you make. I am a big fan of diversity in builds. I think that it's the healthiest thing for, a game of this nature. So having that diversity forced through into the shot types, I think is a welcome addition. Consumable golf balls are also back, although they are quite different this go around. The big thing being that they don't affect the green speed out on the course, so that's awesome. And instead of buying individual balls that change all the different stats of that ball, you will get something similar to the fitting system, but just with the golf balls now. These fittings are used to increase one of the 3 attributes that are on the golf ball. You can only use one at a time, and when they are leveled up, they only affect the modifier. They don't make it so that you can add or stack more of the consumable golf balls on top of each other. They just increase the amount, and you can still only slot one of them. The way that these fittings are different from the fittings on the clubs is when you fit one of these things into the golf ball, it will then consume that fitting. Yeah, the balls are still consumable in 2K25. So there will be another route where we're probably going to have to spend some VC to sink into the consumable golf balls. I was also looking for like a help menu on what each of the 3 things do, and I could not find it. The only golf ball that I have gotten through playing so far on the demo is the flight one. And the flight makes it so that wind doesn't affect the ball as much, which I don't know if I'll like, because if I have a wind on my back, I want to drive the ball further, so it's going to need some testing. But I haven't gotten any of the other golf balls, so I don't know exactly what they do. Hey there, Editor Zane here. I know I don't show up too often, but I actually did find pictures in the footage that I recorded from the preview event to know what each of the balls do. So spin, you fit this ball to increase the spin rate of your shots. No idea how much. We're probably going to have to test that quite a bit. Flight is the one that I have that affects the wind, which I still don't think that I will like. And the forgiveness ball reduces the hook and slice penalty on your shots, which could be very interesting. And oh yeah, by the way, they're still all in the shop. I mean, they were always in the shop, but now they're still in the shop for 2K25. Anyway, back to the video. And all of this stuff, can be found in the demo. Like, you can test all of these things. I mean, except for all of the shot types. We have to wait for full release for that. But overall, you can, test out the consumable golf balls and the EVO Swing and the Archetypes and all of it. If you want to know more or if you want to experience it yourself, go and get the demo right now. Moving through, though, I want to talk about the overall modes that the game has to offer this year in PGA Tour 2K25. And I want to start with the MyCareer, because HB and 2K have put an emphasis on refreshing that mode for this iteration. Loading up MyCareer, you'll be met with similarities to 2K23 as you decide whether you want to start at Q School, Korn Ferry Tour, the Korn Ferry Tour Championship, or straight to the PGA Tour. After making your decision, you'll get some new options in the form of settings. First, we have the user sim settings. New this year is dynamic rounds, which I'll get to here in a second. It involves simming holes during the round that you are playing. The user sim difficulty sets how good or bad you want your character to sim at during these simmed holes, with the ability to actually fine-tune this setting a little later. And the second new setting is the aforementioned dynamic round lengths. Dynamic rounds work like the following. Every round, it will be decided by the computer how many holes you're going to be playing each round. You will play those holes, and the game will simulate the rest of your round. This allows you to experience the tournaments while also being able to get through them faster. This is something that EA PGA Tour also had within their MyCareer. And honestly, it's the only way I played MyCareer in EA PGA Tour. So for me personally, I like this feature a lot. Now, during your round simulation, let's say that there is a hole that you want to play specifically. Well, if you're playing a full round, you can jump in and out at any time during the simulation leaderboard segment. Also, the way that it was described to me, and I could be wrong, like I could have misunderstood, but for the dynamic rounds, if you have a tournament, let's say set to 4 rounds, the dynamic rounds will have you playing the entire course just over the course of 4 rounds. So instead of 4 rounds of 18 holes each round, you will play 4 rounds totaling 18 holes. So you can still experience the full course just over the course of a tournament with dynamic rounds. If you don't want to rely on the simulation to give you results during the holes you aren't playing, you can also change the unplayed holes to auto par. This gives you a par for every hole, and the tournament is dictated by how you do on the holes you play. In essence, they took, EA's idea for dynamic rounds, brought it in, and built upon it, which again, for me personally, is a great addition, and I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it. Here's the new landing page for your MyCareer. It has on the right your name, stated as your golfer name chosen in the MyPlayer creation, your rank, your personality, which I believe only dictates how fast you can accumulate fans. Like if you lean into that personality that you've chosen in interviews and events that happen during the season, you can then boost the amount of popularity that you gain. And with that, boost in popularity and the popularity in general, you will then hit breakpoints to then get rewards for accumulating followers through your journey in MyCareer. It's also used as some of the challenges as well in the quest system. And I'll say if that's all these 2 systems are used for, I do feel like that is a slight bummer. It would have been nice to, have the followers be meaningful in some other way. Like low followers means not a lot of people will watch you during your tournaments until you actually gain more followers, or even just tying it more intricately into the MyCareer instead of it just kind of being another way to earn rewards, kind of like the sponsor system. It feels like a slight miss, although it is nice just having these additional things to do within the MyCareer too. And it could mean more than I know. I mean, again, limited time. Didn't have a ton to just go through and play, a full season of MyCareer. And finally, on this page, you'll have any notifications that you have for events that are happening, interviews, or text messages from your agent. Inside of your schedule, you'll see that there is an edit button. When you see this edit button, that means you can change the course out of these tournaments to any course that is curated by HB in 2K. So putting any created course in the career mode is not there again. Mainly this is due to, legal and licensing issues, especially with PGA licensed events inside of MyCareer. So for those who are wanting this feature to come back, where you can do any designed course, I would probably say it's never coming back if I had to guess. And here is the conversation that I had with my agent to start the MyCareer. He tells me to choose what type of personality I am, and I choose bold. This shifts the personality, and as you can see, it says no streak right here. I'm guessing here that the longer the streak goes, the more bonus you will get to your popularity. And I do want to say, there could be more to this system. This is all I could find for the personality and the fans, so we just gotta wait and see. Out of that call, I now have a message from the golf club looking to sponsor me. I sign on the dotted line, and they now sponsor me for apparel, clubs, and balls. Sponsors work similarly to how they did in 2K23 that I can see. Use the gear, level up the sponsor, and get MyCareer specific things from those sponsors. Inside of the settings menu, you have the more fine-tuned approach to simulation. You can select how good your golfer is, how good the CPU is, and all of the same sliders for attendance and deviation that we had in PGA Tour 2K23. This allows you to fine-tune again how the career plays out for you, especially for those who get, lost in the weeds like I do. There are also separate event settings for regular events, alternates, signature, major, and FedEx Cup playoff events. So if there are specific events you would like to play the full 18 holes for 4 rounds, or maybe just 2 rounds, you can do it for every type of event here in the settings. And unfortunately, that was all I was able to get through for the MyCareer. Again, I didn't have much time, so I wasn't able to see, training or interviews or dynamic events that will be happening, because they have stated all of those things will happen in the MyCareer. I just didn't get a chance to get to that because I had 2.5 hours to play the entire game. There is more to explore here, and that will absolutely be something that I will be exploring in depth, not only in like a MyCareer video playthrough that I'll have on the second channel, but also for my overall review that I put out for this game here on the main channel. One more thing, because I did try out some dynamic rounds in the MyCareer, and if you play bad enough, you will actually lose followers, which I did. Next, we have all of the online modes. I had full access to all of the online modes as well. Inside of the online portion of the game, we have ranked matchmaking and online societies that are back from 2K23, all cross-platform at launch, and also 2K's new flagship mode, the 2K Ranked Tours. 2K Ranked Tours is comprised of a daily and weekly Master Tournament, a daily and weekly Pro Tournament, and a daily and weekly Pro-Am Tournament, with the Pro-Am being open to both swing stick and 3-click users. I did ask, all of these tournaments are 18 holes, which means that there is a lot of golf that we're gonna have to play every day and every week. They also have major and alternate events for the weekly tournaments, which means there will be some limitations similar to how some societies handle it. Also, for the ranked tours, you can choose to play the tournament solo or with a group of up to 3 friends, with everybody's score going towards their score in the tournament if not played. Attached to that screen is the season standings. Here you can see a snapshot of rewards for promotion, rewards for the season, and also rewards for just participating in tournaments. I didn't go into any of these though, just in case there were rewards shown inside the leaderboards. And I know that I've gone over freaking everything in this video, but I actually didn't want to spoil that for myself. I do know that promoting inside of this mode is determined by what percentage you finish for each tournament you play though. Top 10% earn a blue merit, top 25 earn red, 50 earn white, and then below 75 gets one of the either yellow or green. Also something to note, the higher the difficulty you play, the more merits you receive, which is actually a nice reward for those people who are a little bit better at the game. And the 6 ranks that you can get inside of ranked tours are the same that you could get in normal ranked matchmaking. Bogey, par, birdie, eagle, albatross, and condor. There's still a lot more to be learned about this mode, especially with the ranks, and especially seeing what the rewards are to be had inside of it. But this is another level of content inside of PGA Tour 2K25 for the more competitive group of players. And it also helps having master tournaments in here for those who are wanting an increase of difficulty in ranked matchmaking. You actually now get that for 1 round daily and a 4-round 18-hole weekly. Next we have ranked matchmaking. First up, we have the ranges and symbols for all the ranks within ranked matchmaking. Unfortunately, I was told that there is still a cap on the skill rating, which means once you hit the cap, it's just gonna go by wins again, being the deciding factor. So if you hit the cap and you play 75 trillion games and have 35 trillion wins, you're just going to be first on the leaderboard, which is actually kind of unfortunate and kind of silly, but what can you do? This year, there also isn't a way to search for anyone on the leaderboard to see how they are doing. At least no way that I saw, so another miss, I would say, on the leaderboard side. Inside the lobby, you see which you want to play, either solo or duo, with swing stick only. Swing stick only. So there's been no changes on the playlist front as well. It's still only solos or only duos. Would have liked maybe some ranked divot derby here. I think that that would have been absolutely spectacular. But no go. I did ask the devs though if they would be open to like changing playlists, and they said, yeah. I mean, if the data like trends show that they could, you know, use another playlist or use like 3-click in a way for the playlist, that they would be open and fluid with the playlists that they have inside ranked matchmaking. So maybe ranked divot derby. Ranked divot derby. Please. Begging. I also wanted to test out the servers to see if they work, and they did. So I played Apex in matchmaking. We were at the event and kicked his fucking ass. Finally, we have cross-plat online societies. And having cross-plat online societies, honestly, what a monster thing to have for the community. And, I mean, for content creators like myself. No more having, you know, 3 separate societies and 20 admins setting up all the tournaments, and me bringing all the scores into an Excel sheet to then show to everybody like, hey, this is how you did across all the platforms. Now just everything is in one place. And within online societies, there are actually some changes, some nice quality of life changes that have been added for players, owners, and admins of the society. First off, like ranked tours, the much requested play with friends is back in societies. You can invite up to 3 friends and play in any society you are all a part of to get your scores for the tournament. Some changes have been made for owners of societies and admins of societies as well. Consumable golf ball inclusion or exclusion is back from 2K23, and the ability to turn off the message board completely is also an option, something that the TGC Tours should absolutely consider. They also added the ability to search for a member in the Members tab. No more scrolling through pages and pages and pages and pages and pages just to ban one person that's being a dipshit who has entered the society and said some fucked up shit on the message board. You just search for them and you ban them. They also added the ability to just completely clear the message board. I did ask them if the messages from people who are recently banned would be cleared, like auto-cleared. You ban them and it deletes their messages. And they said, no, that is not the case. The only option is the nuclear option, which is clearing the message board in its entirety. So, I mean, I would have liked to have seen like an auto clear if I banned somebody, but at least we still have the option just to clear the message board either way. One thing I asked them was if there was something showing whether I have played or not played the event for the society. I asked them, they didn't have an answer, so at this point I am unsure. But I'm keeping the hopium high that maybe there is something for that. Also, after asking, only 10 societies will be allowed, just like in PGA 2K23. Although, when we were there, we did get in their ear saying, hey, with cross-platform societies, wouldn't it be cool if we could do 15 instead? I know that there's a lot of golf going on, and there's a lot of rank stuff going on, but some people only do societies. And having 15 could be a nice thing to have. So we'll see if maybe that potentially happens. And as far as the game goes and some of the biggest changes in modes available in PGA Tour 2K25, that was what I was able to get through in my short of 2.5 hours of time at the preview event. But that isn't where the video ends, because guess what? Now it's time to go over all of the things that didn't fit inside of those main points earlier in the video. So did you hate how long the video was right now? Well, time to hate it more. And most of these things are actually me just kind of glazing HB, because if I'm being honest here, they kind of deserve it. The tutorials they put in the game, not only at the beginning, but through the training menu, are great. They do a really good job of acclimating new people into the game, something that iterations in past have struggled to do, but I enjoyed these training modules. They did a good job. HB have also added a ton of quality of life stuff for people who have been asking for these things. You can now move the tee within a box on the tee box. They've implemented a new drop system that works and is quite good. So now you don't get screwed on a terrible drop within your round. This is something that people have been asking for since the original golf club, and they've finally got it in. Is it perfect? No, but I mean, this is 2,000 trillion times better than the system that we had before. Course search by designer is back. So if there is a designer you like, you can just hit more by designer and see every single one of their courses that they have created, something that has been gone for the past 2 iterations. You can now turn the wind off on the driving range if there is something specific you want to test without it. Changing conditions on the course next, please. Sticky fringes and ball physics have been greatly improved to mimic more real-to-life club and ball reactions out on the course. Clubhouse passes now never expire, so you can play and complete them at your own pace whenever you get around to doing them. New animations for your golfers so they aren't awkwardly standing watching a ball go in. They now show more realistic motion out on the course, creating better immersion. And although some will disagree, I think that the graphics are quite a bit better than 2K23. I don't think Scottsdale was the best course to show that off on, but when people see many of the courses that are already in and all of the courses that are going to be made by the design community, I think that that beauty will then come through. The 2-iron is also back for every club set, something again that people have asked for 2 iterations now. They also implemented a full replay system for PC and consoles. So now people who are making, courses on console can actually fly around their course to take good pictures of it. And the great thing about having so many creators there is we were, I think, able to touch on probably everything that the game have to offer. I focused more on like settings, menus, the game modes, things of that nature. Makachata, who I'll link down in the description, he focused a lot on like gameplay, different shot types, and things of that nature. Canuck spent a lot of his time playing through the designer, and he just recently released a video on that designer. So if you want to see all of the changes, spoiler alert, it's incredible. Go check out his video, also linked down in the description. Seamount, like me, also went through a lot of the menus and the gameplay, but maybe there were things that he caught that I didn't. You can check out his content, as well as Apex and Binks. Everybody that was there, they'll be linked down in the description, so if you want to be on the lookout for any content that they are making, just do so, because I'm sure we caught on things that the other didn't. And again, for those who are reaching the end of this video, they released a demo. Today's day of age of gaming, that's quite rare. So if you want to try the game out to see if you like it, you can go and get it now, play it, all of your progression moves over to the full game. Overall, though, for the game and the time that I had with it, I mean, do I have worries for the game? I do. I mean, they're all speculative at this point, but they're still there. I mean, is the game perfect? No, nothing ever will be. I mean, bugs and things have already been found in the demo and have been passed along to the devs. But I truly think that HB and 2K have created quite a masterful upgrade from PGA Tour 2K23. They have taken tons of feedback from the community, added a ton of quality of life things, and just given us overall more things to do inside of the game this year, something that this game struggled with at the launch of 2K23. And I truly think that this is going to be a good year to be a golf gamer. It's also going to be a good year to be a Respawn PGA content enjoyer, because my hands-on with the game, the conversations I had with 2K, and the constructive conversations that I had with James, Joel, and Sean from HB has completely fired me back up to make PGA Tour 2K content once again. I hope you all enjoy this ride with me as we all count down the days to the release of PGA Tour 2K25. It's almost time. It's almost here, and I will be playing the hell out of it when it finally releases. See you on the next one.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in